So this is Plutonic planes, and we're doing the sun through gate 16. This will be May 27th to June 1st. And this is in a channel called the channel Talent. And gate 16 is the gate of selectivity, connected to the 48, which is the gate of death and the fear of being caught out of your depth. And in this particular gate, we have the lower frequency of being stuck in indifference, and it's in its highest frequency or higher frequencies, versatility and eventual mastery. Now, this particular gate you can see is coming off of the throat center. And for this day on May 27th, we do not have the 48 activated. The other side for this particular gate is gate 9. And so gate 9 is activated down here, and gate 9 is the gate of focus. And so together for this week, the energy will be that of a heart projector. And it'll also be cross-planning, which is a really interesting contrast from the week before, being the sleeping phoenix, because planning is the particular cycle that we're ending. And we're ending that in 2027 as we get closer and closer to the sleeping phoenix. And what that means in its expression here is that overall, this frequency has been one of indifference, because humanity, for the most part, is ignorant of its connection to everyone and everything around it. Has not yet fully realized the consequences of the effects of things impacting everyone. Everyone still not everyone, but for the large part, the collective still thinks that the mind has boundaries and that it's somehow not electrically connecting as a conductor with everything around it as a receiver. And so in this particular gate, we have this talent. We have this talent to express gifts of music or different types of skills, different types of art, dance, and it's about learning skills, the requirements that are present for learning any particular skills, the need for absorption in the technique that you're studying, and the ability to study this technique until you ultimately transcend the skills that you've learned and utilized into a form of versatility that can be expressed in many ways, and then eventually into a form of talent and mastery. And even though on some level it's about skills apprehended and utilized, it's deeper than that. It's about the energy that's utilized from those skills in order to transform and transcend that state into a form of genius, into a form of expression, creative expression. And the power of this gate is to overcome the limitations of beingness, of seeming beingness, in the sense that the dark side of this gate is being indifferent, indifferent to others, indifferent to the collective, even indifferent to oneself. And so, even though discipline is initially utilized, there's other levels that are reached once mastery is reached, another form of apprehension that's more holistic in its expression. And so it's a form of paradox in that sense. But it comes to express itself, this particular gate, through the preliminary acquiring of technical skills, and then later the transcendence of techniques. Now, this particular gate is also about lighting up that energy with enthusiasm to share, to express. It is, after all, connected to the voice box, to the voice channel, the throat channel, where things are manifested forth. And this is the second gate of Gemini. So the sun being here for this particular week, we look here at the column on the right-hand side with all the transits. And sure enough, we see the sun, the circle with a dot, in gate 16, line 1. It'll go through line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, we also see the moon here in gate 16, line 3. So we know that we've just went through a new moon. So most likely a couple of days before this, probably around the 25th, a couple of days before this particular release, we'll be in the dissolving light of the new moon. And so when there's a new moon in a particular gate, we have the merging of two energies. Now, the moon is our deepest heart, our deepest sense of ourselves. And so when it's connected to the sun, the neutrinos are released with a sense of newness, a sense of a returning home, and a returning to a new home in essence, because usually new moons signify the cycle, the repetitive cycle of the moon, which is to begin something new. And in this particular new moon, we have moon and sun only activated. And we have two other gates activated. As you guys can see here, we have the 2551 activated. And the 25 will be activated by Saturn, because on this will be the second day. Saturn will come into Aries on the 25th. And about a couple days before that, or even a week, it'll have already entered gate 25, which is a mix of the end of Pisces and early Aries. And so Saturn will be in the 25, and then Venus will be in Aries in the 51, line 6. It's about to leave Aries at the end of the month and go into Taurus. And so the channel of initiation, that's called, that will be active. So at the end of May, as we approach June, and the new gates for the nodes to move into, and as we get closer and closer to Jupiter moving into Cancer, in other words, Jupiter moving into gate 15, right now we see it's in gate 12, that very sensitive individual channel connected to the throat, or gate, yeah, well, that. And once it moves into the 15th on June 10th, June 11th, June 12th, there will be explosions. That's going to be a very intense time. Jupiter will be entering. So that's about a couple weeks from this release that Jupiter will enter Cancer, and it will enter the 15th gate, and it will square the Aries vanishing point right there in the early degrees of Aries where Neptune and Saturn are. And that will illuminate a huge tension between certain things within us. This is an inner tension. This is a square. So between the area in our chart that's ruled by Cancer, our home, and the tension will be between our individuality, our individuation, our pioneering, our leadership, our will expressed by Aries. So there'll be a huge tension to resolve. But for now, enjoy this initiation of this particular week. The 2551 is a very powerful channel. Meditation will be very powerful this week, as everyone will have access to the bridge between the worlds that is gate 25 and 51 together. And that may be for a little while, because once Venus goes out, let me see. Well, whenever the moon hits the 51, it'll activate the channel of initiation for the rest of the year. So it'll be at least once a month for sure. But most of the gates are moving out of Aries gates into Taurus, most of the other personal planets. And the outer planets are doing their thing. Saturn and Neptune in Aries gate 25, and then Pluto will be in 41 for years. And Saturn will be in 25 and then moving forth in Aries as well. And then Jupiter into 15. And so hopefully that was helpful for you all. Again, this is a good time for practicing your guitar that you never practice and really honing in some of your skills and maybe even because it's a new moon, maybe even starting a new hobby or skill and studying it really well during this time. And so hopefully that was helpful to you all. Feel free to like and subscribe and take care.